Hey, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to talk about why I finally switched to a Mac computer. And, it's going to be a few details in this video. So if you're considering a Mac for your setup, maybe this video may help you make a more educated decision on that. I know there's a lot of videos talking about, how they test it out for different stuff like running AI models. Me, I'm just coming from a person who records at home and also recording for doing video editing and things of that nature. So I just wanted to talk about my experience and why I finally made that investment. So now this wasn't my first Mac. I actually bought a Mac back in 2008. It was a Mac Mini, and I wanted to finally experience having a Mac at home. And it ran pretty good for what it did, just for basic recording and music production. And the funny thing about that, I was using that to run Windows, and one of the main reasons I was using that to run Windows was so I could use FL Studio to run that on there. So I was doing that parallels thing, and I was going back and forth, and I made it work. It wasn't convenient, but then eventually, it sort of kind of had its run, and the lack of power that it had, it was like, okay, and I've always was like, man, I need a Mac Pro. But just the budget wasn't there at the time. Now, right now, like I have a fully legit PC. There's nothing cracked on it. There's nothing. It has 64 gigs of RAM. It has a Ryzen 7 processor, and I think it has a GT or RTX 40 or 30 something in there. And I was still running into like weird issues, like software would, in the middle of music creation, software would just mysteriously crash, or a plugin wouldn't work. Just something out of the ordinary that I didn't really appreciate not running during the process, and that was happening for years. And I was just like, okay, maybe it's just an issue here or there. And so years of that, because unfortunately I got used to that, and that probably was the wrong thing to do. I'm the type of guy that will sometimes get used to things that I shouldn't. And I really had my fill with that. I was like, I don't want to keep doing that. I don't want to have to keep sort of living with the reality of, okay, I know how it's going to break today. There were some other issues, like with my audio interfaces. Like I had like stereo audio interfaces. Those worked okay. USB audio interfaces. Sometimes the USB bus would just go out and I would have this buzzing noise a lot of times. And so when you're dealing with that, there's a whole lot of variables. Maybe the RAM isn't right, or maybe the motherboard isn't right, or maybe the hard drives isn't right. I was thinking maybe I had a bad hard drive in it, and it was all, and it's funny is I was doing everything I can to remove spinning drives from it, because I thought maybe the bottleneck, the reason this is loading slow is because I have a spinning drive in it. Then I eliminated the spinning drive, and then it was all M.2 and new M.2. So I thought maybe I had an old M.2 that went bad. So I took it out, put another one in. And I had issues with getting my operating system transferred over to that. Then I used ChatGPT to fix that. And so there was a lot of things that I did that I had to do to cater to the device to get it to work. And it was a really powerful system in my opinion. I felt like it had a lot of horsepower, but even in its horsepower, I don't know if it's the operating system or something like that, but it would just sort of cause bottlenecks, just randomly crash. At that time when I had that original Mac Mini, it wasn't natively released on Mac. Now, times have changed. It's been a long time since 2008. So having the main software I run on it was good. Running MPC3 software, like, man, I tell you, all the times, and I can tell you this from the live streams I used to do, where I would make beats on the MPC3 software or even MPC 2.5, and that stuff just crash for no reason, just crash. Or something happens and the audio gets messed up, and I have this weird buffer underrun thing out of nowhere, and I was like, okay, well, I don't want to use this plugin because you start to figure out how to work around it. So, okay, as long as I don't use this plugin, or as long as I don't load this sound, or maybe I don't pull from this sound library, I'll be okay, and I won't crash. And it seemed like no matter what I tried to memorize as far as working my way around it, it was still crashing on me in my creative process. And that's not okay, because in my eyes, everything's legit. There's no crack, no hack. Everything in there is clean. Everything is new. Some people say, well, maybe you got crack. No, I didn't have no crack software. Maybe you had a slow processor. Ryzen 7 with like 8 cores in it, and we still got problems. And the level of the PC or the processing meter wasn't even going that high. So why are we crashing? So there's just a lot of mysterious things that I didn't have answers for. But it still did okay, but there were still like these qualms and things. And but on certain pieces of software, everything worked fine. You didn't have any issues. But then on other pieces of software, there were issues. And it's like, why does I just have to keep working around this? And this has been going on for years. I've been working around it. I've been patient. I've been doing what I could to just make it all work. But I was still just sort of struggling with that. And it was just, I got used to it. Like I said, I get used to bad things sometimes. So after a while, it's like, okay, I just keep break fixing. And I was looking at Macs for a while, and I considered the Mac Studio a while ago and the Mac Mini. I was like, okay, well, maybe I should get a Mac Mini. Maybe. I was like, no, if I'm gonna spend this money, I might as well get a Mac Studio. And because it's built in such a way that you are not really allowed from the manufacturer to upgrade it. I was like, okay, let me make sure I get a good amount of RAM in it, and let me make sure I get a good hard drive in it. And so I did that, and it's been sort of a night and day difference. One, I can't hear the computer, and it was supposed to be running quiet, but I could still hear the computer. But with this Mac Studio, I can't hear it. It just runs, it boots up very quickly. Software and things run a lot more consistently. Now, I can't say that it's perfect, but everything's been super solid. I got a Thunderbolt audio interface for it. The Apollo Twin X. I had the Apollo Twin for the PC, but you know, if you got an Apollo Twin for the PC, that's USB 3. It's not compatible with the Mac infrastructure. Great. So I had to get another audio interface. Got the Apollo Twin Light Thunderbolt on there. Super solid. Like, I probably didn't even need it. Thinking about it now, I probably didn't even need an Apollo Twin because the way that the audio latency is so fast on it, it's almost like I could track with plugins in real time and not worry about that latency loop back. It's like, it's so fast. It's like, it's got that phasing thing. And we're getting buffers down to 16 milliseconds versus the lowest I could really get to on the PC side was like 32. Not only that, like there's like, what it seems to me, there's like more stuff that's catering to music production and just in the audio field in general, like the MIDI suite that they have in here that really highlights all your devices. You don't really get that on the PC side, or if there was one, I couldn't easily find it, but I knew there was going to be like a MIDI connection suite that's built into the operating system. And you know, the main programs I run is like Premiere. I used to run After Effects, not so much these days. Photoshop, OBS, Studio 1.6. I haven't bought Studio 1.7, FL Studio, and MPC 3 software, which we all know that still has some work that needs to be done on that. But it's been running really well. Everything has been just running really well. A lot of stuff is just connecting. I spent a lot less time doing the break fixing, and it seems to be more designed for getting work done versus play. I know some people try to game on their Macs, but I never really ever saw Mac as more of a gaming platform. I saw it more as a professional workstation platform, especially when you get a Mac Studio. I mean, when they put Studio in the name, it's like, okay, maybe this belongs in the studio. And you wanted that Mac Pro power, and definitely for the price, I should be getting Mac Pro power. But it doesn't have that Mac Pro size. They really scrunched it down. I was like, huh, okay. And I didn't really pay attention to it when I first saw them because I was like, I got a powerful PC. It's great. It was, you know, very low cost of entry to get into it. You know, I had to hook up on that, and it worked great. But there was still a lot of break fix that I had to do on it. Just weird stuff that would run, not run, and maybe run again, and not run again. It was just a headache, and that I've been putting up with for years. So I said, okay, let me switch over and try something else. And so I did, and I'm glad I did because it runs very well. It's very quick, very agile. Like for instance, like when I ran Chrome on my PC, it just seems like Chrome just bogged that PC down. Websites wouldn't load up very quickly. It's like it always had an issue with like dealing with websites. It would just take a while to load up. Even from a new install, there's just weird things like certain plugins would hang up by software. So there was a lot of things. I'm sort of rambling, but that's sort of why I went on and did it. I'm glad I did it. I don't plan a game on this thing, and it's cool to be able to run AI models on this thing. I heard people doing AI models and all kinds of cool stuff. But for me, it's a nice centerpiece to my studio setup. It's probably a long time overdue. And I had a good PC. I'm not saying it was completely bad, but there was just these weird, mysterious hang-ups that something just wasn't gelling with each other over and over again. I just always have to cut record around that. So that's why I finally pulled the trigger on one, and I'm glad I did. It was an investment. It did hurt. It was an investment, but I definitely feel like I have something that is professional, very consistent. I can count on it. We'll see what happens in the next 5 years. Lord have mercy. But for my music and creative pursuits, I definitely probably will keep a Mac Studio Anderson in peace, because it's a powerful system, renders video fast, renders audio fast. It just works. And that's what I need in my setup. I don't want to keep break fixing my PC. Even if it's a powerful and fully spec'd out PC, I don't want to have to keep break fixing it. And in this situation, I don't have to do that. So that's my experience with this. Hope this helped you make your decision. If you like this type of content, make sure you subscribe to DAW T2K YouTube channel. DAW, see you later.